Any questions?
Any questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
I don't know if you ever run into friends, family, or whoever is in your sphere that you might want to witness to, but if you know they're a little tough, like a little dense, you don't want to hear it. Do you feel that it's better to maybe pray about these encounters before they happen to kind of
Yes.
soften them up a little bit?
Yeah, no, you really need to, prayer has to go before that, for sure.
Before
And then the Lord will lead you as you pray for people. The Lord will lead you as to what to say. At least that I've found that to be true. But I would never do that with someone who's hard unless I prayed first. And I always pray that the Lord will soften their hearts and prepare them to receive what He wants me to say to them. Or, Lord, send workers across their path that they will listen to. Because it might not be you, it might be somebody else, and your prayers will make that happen. So that's another thought you should be thinking about. You know, because sometimes you just can't reach family. Jesus had a hard time with that. So.
I guess, well, one fear I always had is like saying the wrong thing and like driving people away from the Lord. That's one problem. I just feel that, I guess I don't have the confidence to talk to people.
Well, but I think, again, you know, if you're just talking to somebody and you're in a conversation, and then at some point you will be surprised. I don't think it's good to go into it, at least for me. It's not good for me to go into it thinking I'm going to get somebody to come to the Lord. It's usually spontaneous, and that's always my disposition. I mean, I always want to tell people about the Lord, and most people do know that about me. So, but I think as you go into conversation and pray, you know, ask the Lord to give you that the confidence that you need. I'll pray with you tonight for confidence. I'd be happy to do that. Okay, because you have it. You already have the grace. You just need to act on it. That's the other thing. The Lord always knows I'll do it. See, I will always do it. If He puts something in my heart, He knows I'm going to speak, and I've never failed to do that. So, anyhow, I'll be glad to pray with you.
I come from the same perspective. I think that's kind of an introverted type thing. You're afraid of making a mistake, you know, and that's me thinking it's going to come out wrong. And but the Lord has that other passage where He gives 1 talent and 5 talents and 3 talents, and the one that was afraid and buried it didn't come out so well. That was the Lord would rather have you try and make a mistake than to not do anything at all. Okay, that's the thing. So I always remind myself of that. The biggest mistake is just to run away. So you've got to be there and do this and to say, Lord, I'll do the best I can. So that helped me some to do that, to make sure I did that. And to know He's with you. He's going to take care of it. And lots of times I think I made a mistake, ended up being just what needed to happen. Okay, so He's in charge.
Yeah. I think my brother used to come. He had an encounter with the Lord, and it was bad. If we knew He was coming, we'd turn off all the lights and act like we weren't there because He was like beating us over the head with it, you know. And really, all He needed to do was share His experience. I think that's the key, is sharing your experience, because no one can say anything about that. How can they get angry? You're telling them about what's happened to you. So, and prayer is always important.
Well, do you think some people who don't have the gift that you have could just pray? Just like, I have no desire to do what you're asking. Because I don't think I have the gift. It's never been successful with me when I try it. And then I have to examine my heart because I'm hurt, and I have to deal with my own forgiveness when they shouldn't treat me like that, really. You know, in terms of not listening.
Is it mostly family? Because family's tough.
Yeah, it is. But I got to the point where the Lord said, in fact, I have a special prayer to pray. And I just said, Lord, that's fine with me. I'm going to be a contemplative in my home. And I'm just going to pray. And I'll be praying that you all succeed. I mean, no, I'll try. I'll see what God does in my life. I want to do His will. But I'm just saying, I it doesn't happen. I haven't been successful.
But you know,
that's the point. Even Mother Teresa says, you're not, the point isn't to be successful. The point is not, the point is to plant a seed.
Well,
Okay.
I guess I'm planting seeds.
That's it, you planted seeds, and you have done wonderfully, as
Yes.
far as I can see. I've heard some of your stories, and you were just right on the money, okay, in terms of doing
They
that.
never let me do that.
No, they didn't. That you may never get that privilege of doing that, but he did the same to Jesus, okay? When he just said, unless you eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, you shall not have life. What happened to them? Out they went. You know, this man speaks harshly. Who can follow him? That's what they said to him. He let him go. The whole crowd, hundreds and thousands of them that were just so excited about wanting to make him king just seconds before. Heard that? Out they went. So you got, at times it's going to be that way, but you at least had the courage to plant the seed that they really needed to hear. We remember Charles's testimony frequently where he went to confession and the priest didn't forgive his sins. Charles is still giving testimony as that's one of the best men in his life. Okay, everyone goes, oh, how unforgiving that priest was. No, he said that priest loved me better than anybody. Okay, so that's the case. You're loving people better than anybody. You just don't remember that.
and sometimes you'll witness to them and they won't act right. I've not had that experience, but I know people who have, where they've witnessed just what you're saying, and it's been a bad reaction, but a year later, 6 months later, whatever, they've come back and said, you know, you were right, thank you for speaking the truth. So you have to be open to being rejected and accept it, you know.
Well, one thing I did do and have done being a teacher is I wear curls.
Mhm.
And that my kids see that, especially these little ones I work with. And I try to teach them. I feel like, and I would think about when I didn't say my prayers for community. Lord knows I was working for our community because if these kids can get educated and grow up to be, you know, because I worked in some difficult situations. And so I looked at that as a way of bringing them into maturity. And
Right.
you can't talk religion in the classroom, but you can teach you can teach through stories and through books that they have to read. So you can bring the Lord into your life without really work really talking with adults now, adult conversation.
I have no doubt that you're doing everything
I
you're supposed to do.
didn't ask for all that. I'm not sure about that, but that's okay, thank you. Really good.
Rick, do you have anything you want to add? You had the vision for this too?
No.
No? Okay.
Perfect.
Anyone else?
Well, I can totally identify with you and you too. And some of it, you know, there's that fear of rejecting your message and you personally.
Right.
And when we were praying originally, you know, earlier on, I kept getting this little thing, and I felt like I was supposed to express it, but I was a little afraid to say something. But it was, we have to lose ourselves,
Yeah. You have to be
you know,
willing.
because otherwise we have to lose ourselves, because we can be offended or we can be hurt
Mhm.
and we can be afraid. So
Sure.
we have to lose ourselves in Jesus, but let Him lead.
Yeah, and constantly ask the Holy Spirit. I mean, I can remember one time I was in Ocean City and I got a word from the Lord for the girl in the choir, and I turned to Wayne and I said, oh gee, I think I have a word for this girl and I know she's going to think I'm weird. I mean, suppose it's wrong and I don't want to do it. He said, look, let's offer up our Mass, that if you're supposed to do it, you'll have the courage to do it. And so at the end of Mass, I went up to her and I told her what I had to say, and she starts crying. She said, they were moving, her husband were moving from Bethany, and she didn't want to move, and she asked the Lord to show her that it was going to be okay. And that was what I said to her. She's crying. She said, she was just thanking me profusely. Well, I went out of there so puffed up. I felt so good. So that's the reverse. You can feel that too. But it was hard. You know, I didn't want her to think, I don't want people to think I'm weird. But people do think I'm weird sometimes. I was in a Bible study, and this woman, I had known her for a while. She came up to me. We had never met. And she said, yeah, I knew you were. She said, but this one woman at church said that I was like a holy roller person, and I said, oh, that is so wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's what I want. I want people to see the light of Christ, you know. But, you know, she thought I was weird, but that's okay. Because I probably am weird to a lot of people. When you love the Lord, you know, people don't understand it, you know, they... I guess we're done.
I think we're done. Okay, I think we have a little bit more time than 15 minutes. We can intercede for whatever needs we have right now, and for the people we need to pray for their conversion, and for us, so that we'll be able to be faithful witnesses to the Lord, you know, and to pass on the word that He has. And from the revive us in a way for the love. Usually, when you start doing this, it usually ends up building your energy, your spiritual energy. When you do this, when you begin to do this, this is an important element of the life in the Spirit, is to go out and do things where you're giving the faith away. It's so important. That's where growth really accelerates and multiplies when you do that. If you don't have that in your life, it takes a lot more time, because it's like eating and never exercising. Okay, it's really hard to get big muscles doing that, to do that, or to be at least fit. It doesn't work out. Right? So it's really that you really need to do both. You really need to both receive and give. And you only get to keep what you give. So it's important to keep that in mind. So this is why we're talking about this, is we're trying to get us involved with the idea of being able to just to do witnessing. It's so nice when you know, all of a sudden you just say something to a person and they're so blessed by that, and it just makes their day, then it makes your day as well. Okay? Or if you don't do it, you know, or if you do it, you don't get quite the reaction you want, like Rosemary said, it's okay. Okay, blessed are those who have not seen it yet believe. You still are going to get a benefit from it. Believe me, you are. You just don't get it right at that moment.
And you don't know who's going to come along next and water it.
Well, you know
See,
what?
somebody's going to come along and
really, bottom line is this. It's like I could cry sometimes because I'm hurt, but then I think I give it to Jesus, because you know why? Hell is forever.
yeah.
And heaven,
Yeah.
you want them to go to heaven.
Yeah.
That's why we hurt, I think, because we really do love them.
Right.
And they don't see it as love.
No.
They see love in a different light.
Right.
And I think that's good to know that any of us that are hurt by those, we try to be gentle, we can make that a prayer to Jesus.
But you know, with my brother, how I felt about him, I'm thinking, oh, Robin's coming. In the end, though, look where I ended up. So you see, that was a seed. And
Yeah.
who knows that wasn't the very seed
Right.
that caused me to move further. So, yeah, to be not offended, you have to get to that place.
Yeah, but I mean, the whole bottom line is saving souls.
Yes.
It's important. So let's get about that work. This is also what we do now, about to pray for people, is of that ilk, okay, of reaching out. We can touch people just as well as it is to do it with the encounter face to face. We can touch people mightily right now by our prayer together for them. So let's have at it, okay? Let's do it.